I'm Jeremy. You probably know me from Destroy All Podcasts, a podcast which is hosted on CollectionDX, much like this review. Today I'm talking about, right here, this is the SH Figuarts Masked Rider V3. And here is the gentle bug in question. So, much like the Common Rider X or Masked Rider X SH Figuarts I reviewed last year sometime, it is highly posable. So you do the arms, go like this, go like this. He does have these little shoulder thingies here, but they don't really impede movement because they're like bendy. Elbows, wrist, up, down, all around. Ball joint, really nice. Same thing here, ball joint, yada yada. Head does the usual ball jointed, up, down, left, right, in and out kind of thing. It is slightly restricted by this collar here, but, not too bad. You can look at the camera. You can look away from the camera. It's not a problem. On the back, you have the posable scarves, and they are swappable. I'll show the swappable parts later. He has movement here on his upper torso, and his waist moves both here and underneath the belt, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, there's like double waist joints on it. Also, he's got these like pec things that are posable, surprisingly. Posable pec things. A neat little feature. Really nicely detailed belt. This thing here on the side is removable. It's removable because it's swappable, and I'll show you that with the swap parts in a second. This sort of skirt thing he has happening here does make the turning in the lower waist part a little bit hard, a little stiff. This is like some kind of PVC, I think. Like, it's flexible, but it's not super flexible. You can do normal leg stuff, but you can also pull the legs out of the joint, just like most modern SH Figuarts. So he can really, really stretch. He's got really good knee bend here. He's got ankle, whoops, he yanked it off. That will happen. But his ankle can go all the way around, in and out a little bit without popping off. Ooh, ooh. And you can bend his toes. So I feel like that's pretty good posability. Obviously the same thing on the other side. Yada yada. Move, bend. Yay. So that's pretty cool. One thing I would say is to watch out for is the antennas. They're stiff plastic, ABS or something. They do not bend. They will probably just break off. Be careful about that. I've had other Common Rider SH Figuarts or Masked Rider, whichever you prefer, take tumbles and the antennas just snapped right off, and that was it. The only one that I've had with flexible antennas is the Common Rider X or Masked Rider X, and even then it's not that flexible. It's just not as thick a piece as these ones. So let me get out the optional pieces from the box here, and I can show you what they look like. So first off, as expected for SH Figuarts, he has about 1 million different hands, and I'm not going to put them all on, but I will briefly go over them. So this is, I guess you're not going to be able to see that if I don't put it on. Okay, I guess I will be putting hands on. So here is a pointer finger. So some of these are a little bit hard to get on. Like, they are just ball joints. Oh, I knocked off his scarf. They are just ball joints, so it is pretty easy to pop them on and off, which is good because, you don't want to accidentally break them. But it's bad because it can be a pain in the ass to get them to stick on sometimes. It works better if you heat the plastic up, although under these studio lights, which I have no idea how to use, it's pretty hot, so it'll probably warm up quickly. So yeah, here's his pointing finger. Woo! I can point at you. I think I might have another figure around. No? Oh, here we go. I've got a Shocker. He can point his finger at Shocker. Shocker! Jacuz! So there's that. He's got either, you could call it a peace sign. You could say he's swearing at you if you're English. You could also put on, I have to do this one because it's pretty amazing. You can put on his knocked it off. You can put it on his other finger as well, the matching 2 fingers on his other hand, rather, not finger. And now he's Richard Nixon. I am not a crook. I never once benefited from my public position. You've got a grabby hand. Just, oh, God, it's so hard to get these things on. Okay, so here's a grabby hand. The grabby hand is useful for his, I guess I can show this thing. Warning, the little belt attachment thing, I think it's like some kind of weapon or something. I don't know. I haven't seen Kamen Rider V3. I know it's the only old school Kamen Rider show released in English officially, which is great, and I wish that I had it, but it's also really expensive, over $100, so I haven't bought it. So this is really hard to see, but this tiny little piece here swaps out. You can probably see on his belt. You pop that off, and this is just kind of an empty one. So I'll put that on him now. So here he's got the empty container, I guess. And here's the thing that supposedly comes out of it, his little weapon or whatever, I don't really know. So then he can hold that with his grabby finger. So it's semi-useful. I suppose if you're trying to reproduce poses from the television show or whatever, this is probably helpful to you. So I'm going to swap him back to his original one and put these pieces back in here before I lose them, because they are exactly the right size to lose. The smaller connector piece for his belt, the holder part, the holster, I guess, is about the size of a grain of rice, and the V-marked metal colored thing that sticks into it is, you know, like a piece of a grain of rice and a half. It's not a lot bigger. So back to the different hands. We've also got a couple of fists for when you're punching. So here's my shocker move again. Oh no! Punching you, shocker! So there's that. There's also a this isn't a grabby hand, it's a holdy hand. It's, you know, it's circular. Let me just steal the shocker's weapon here. Oh, you know what? I actually don't think he can hold it because these fingers are actually stuck to the thumb. Okay, well, it'll still work with the little shiny silver thing, whatever it's supposed to be. Like, you can just stick it. I guess it has to be like a pole type weapon that doesn't have a sharp thing on the end, or like a crest holding it. So yeah, good for grabbing stuff. Not much else. Back, and he also has sort of a karate chopping hand. I'm a karate masked rider, yeah. Shocker, and he can go, sneak up behind him and go, ya, 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 ya. So it's a pretty good set of hands. That's one of the problems. I mean, it's nice that they come with all of these optional features. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, but the optional features are, like, these optional pieces are very small and very losable. I would definitely not ever recommend giving this to a young child. This would not be a good idea. Despite the fact that they're fairly tough action figures, there's just so many little pieces that probably go right into some kid's mouth. So don't do that. But, you know, this is probably appropriate for, like, teenagers, like young teenagers. I wouldn't think that would be a problem, you know, if your kid is, like, 13 or whatever. But here's his option piece for his rider kick, which is more impressive than the one that comes with the renewal version of Kamen Rider 1, Masked Rider 1, Ichigo. It's very difficult to use, though, even though it looks a lot better. So you're pretty much talking about, there's this like weird clip thing on the side that is a royal pain to get out. There we go, I got it. So there's this, and then these pieces separate. So this is the main piece. I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but the foot goes into here. It Probably helps if you don't have his toe all bent. So you put his foot in like that. And it's really difficult to do this correctly, even when you're not sort of staring at a video monitor and doing it. So you get his foot in, and then you have to jam in the two pieces. So let's see, this is the back part. This is so hard to do. I feel like it'd be harder, or it'd be easier if you just took off his foot. In fact, I'm going to try that, and then I'll stick his ankle back onto his foot afterwards. Maybe that'll make it a little simpler. So this piece goes in here. And then this piece goes in front. And this part here in the front, it's locked in by this outside piece snapping into it, so. And you have to get it at the right angle or it will never go in. Okay, there we go, got it. I tried to look up instructions on the internet on how to do this when I got it, because I spent like half an hour trying to make this fucking foot get in here. Okay. Spent half an hour trying to get this foot in there, but now I finally got it in this time fairly easily. So it's really a nice effect piece. You can totally have your shocker, and you go, rider, kick! It's got cool translucent plastic, and there's like a neat gradiated sort of red, pink kind of color to it. It looks really cool. It's just very hard to get on the foot. Even if you know what you're doing, it's difficult. Like I say, I think it's a good idea to do what I did and yank the foot off of the body of the rider, and then just stick her back in when you've got the shell of the rider kick effect built around it. So as you can see, it's pretty much your average size for Kamen Rider SH Figuarts. It's a little bit shorter than the shocker, but I think they all are. Oh, you know what I didn't show you is the alternate scarves. These are also ball and joint sockets, just like the hands. I'm not a big fan of these trays that the SH Figuarts come in. Yeah, they come in these trays that everything bounces, and see, you're knocking pieces off. Okay, so here he is with his flying scarf alternate pieces, which are pretty cool, especially if you're doing poses like the rider kick. So maybe I shouldn't have put these on until I had the shell on there, but whatever. So, you've got your kick in action. Look at me with my cool flowing scarf. So yeah, the scarves are pretty cool. It's definitely a trademark Shotaro Ishinomori kind of a thing, the scarves. And Kamen Rider V3 was the first sequel television show to the original Kamen Rider show. And so, the story in that one is the original two Kamen Riders save this dude whose family was murdered by the bad guys. And he wants to become a cyborg insect man like the first two Kamen Riders, but they refuse because it's a life of hell. I mean, that was one of the things that was kind of a recurring aspect of the original Kamen Rider show. They were going on and on about how, it's a prison being a horrible cyborg, but I always felt like that was kind of complaining a little too much, because even though they had their mission of, revenge and also justice, because they're trying to, save the human race from Shocker, from these goons. But at the same time, it's not like they don't look like normal humans most of the time, and it's not like they have, horrible scarred faces or something. They just look like normal people until they, do their special henshin pose and transform. But they, eventually the dude gets too injured in a fight with Shocker, and they turn him into a cyborg. So he's meant to have, like, these strengths of both Kamen Rider 1 and 2. He's, like, the skill of one of them and the strength of the other one, or something like that. But that's why his belt has two different little spinner fan things. And the detail is really nice here. I'll shove it up a little close so you can see here. They did a good job of reproducing the different aspects of the suit. And I especially like the head sculpt. He has this really gross organic thing happening. And the funny thing too is these little gaps here under the bug eyes, I'm pretty sure in the real suit are where the human inside of the costume, where his eyes were looking out. So a nice detail there. I think that the Bandai Figuarts team did a really great job with the sculpt here. It's true that the body's a little generic because, most of the SH Figuarts are built off of the same body these days, but there is original sculpted detail that is only on him. And if you look at his legs, like nowadays the modern SH Figuarts have like cloth sculpted into the limbs so that it looks like more like a real tokusatsu suit. And I'm really pleased with this. This is another really great figure in an already great line. And I mean, these are the action figures that would have been awesome to have when we were kids. Well, like I said, maybe early teens and not when we were like 5. But you know, when Masked Rider, the Saban's Masked Rider show came on the air in the US, I think I was like 14. So, you know, I totally would have liked an action figure like this around then, even if I was kind of feeling like I was too old for these shows. But part of the reason is the Saban version is kind of a silly sitcom, whereas the original Kamen Rider shows in Japan are more like melodramatic action shows. So, you know, this is a good figure. I like it a lot. I really think most of the SH Figuarts are really good toys, and this is really no exception here. The modern SH Figuarts don't have the die-cast feet like the old ones tended to, but that's really the only negative thing I can say about it. And, you know, be careful about the antennas because you're liable to break them off if you're not watching it. The Kamen Rider X or Masked Rider X that I reviewed last year did have one additional point of articulation that this one didn't. This one does not have a turn in the like a joint in the middle of the bicep, but it does turn in the shoulder a lot, so I don't feel like it's really a problem. Also worth mentioning, there's kind of an in and out motion here on the shoulder, so I feel like that kind of makes up for not having that bicep swivel, I guess you could call it. So yeah, it's a really good figure. If you like Masked Rider or you like Kamen Rider, this is a good one to get. The original 3 Kamen Rider make a good set if you just want to have like the old school early 70s shelf. And you know, they have been doing a lot of the older Kamen Rider stuff from the 70s too. It's not just those guys, but they're my favorites, so I'm pretty glad to have them. And this is a really good figure, and thank you to Angles for sending it our way. You can read my full written review of Kamen Rider V3 or Masked Rider V3, the SH Figuarts toy, at www.collectiondx.com. And you can listen to my podcast at www.destroyallpodcasts.com. And the music that I used for the intro and the outro is written by me under my musical act, Violence Mars. Okay, that's it. Thanks, everybody.